with that, let's jump right into it. And here I am sitting with Heidi Polende, who was once a nurse taking care of many people in the medical industry and in that field, and now finding a whole new pathway to support people beyond the physical and actually into the realm where it all actually truly comes to being, right? Which is how do we interact with ourselves? How do we advocate for ourselves? And how do we like live the life by honoring the life that we're in? So, Heidi, I would love for you to tell me a little bit more about this community that you're building and how this was birthed. I know you delivered a lot of babies, but how this community is a place to really help people birth it through these transitions and into this phase of being with themselves that feels authentic. So I'll let you tell me more.
Okay, thank you, Dixie. So first off, I want to say thank you, Dixie, for being a part of this community, being one of my friends, and giving me some really valuable feedback along the way as I've been rewriting my own story. So this community is all about rewriting your story and reclaiming your life. And the reason I created it is because I started noticing the patterns in my life. I started noticing the stories I was telling. I started waking up to the truth of who I was and realizing I was living a very dimmed down, dumbed down, small version of the divine grand being that I am. And there's a big gap between who I had pretended to be to who I know that I am, yet how do I act in this bigger way when I'm still clinging to these old stories of lies and limitation? So the Rewrite Your Story community is all about sharing the tools that I learned over the last 8 years, really, of untangling from my codependent, beautiful relationship. I had a beautiful 30-year marriage. I still love this man deeply. But we are not in the same relationship because we've been untwangling from the codependency that I couldn't even see. 30 years of marriage and well, let's go. We're not going to jump into that. But the tools that I learned from untangling from the relationship are really what I have to offer and the peace that I have in my life. The joy I have in the life, my sense of self that I have, my willingness to have the hard conversations because in our marriage you keep peace at all costs and you don't have those hard conversations. You abandon yourself time and time again so that you can be the wife you're supposed to be, so you can be the mom you're supposed to be, so you can be the nurse you're supposed to be, so you can show up and perform and do all these things, and at the end of the day you're exhausted and not happy and you're wondering why. Yeah, this is why
Yeah,
I created the community, because there is a better way of being, and caught up in the old story is fucking miserable. Okay, that's my assessment.
absolutely. Yeah. I feel like you just did a really good job of explaining like what self-abandonment looks like. So the next question I want to ask is how does it show up and why don't we recognize it?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Um, my journey has been that of a little bit of awareness at a time. So as I have more awareness, I have an opportunity to observe myself. I start observing my story. I start watching myself do these bizarre things repetitively and wondering, did you see what she's doing? She is acting so strange. Why does she do this? Right? So with the awareness comes the ability to observe myself. Without the awareness, there's no opportunity for change. And so how does the awareness come? I don't know, but by the grace of God, I think just by the grace of God and by being open. Oh, I remember now. I started asking the question, who am I? Okay? There's it's a thing. If you haven't gotten into it, start asking the question, who am I? And then more awareness starts coming. Yeah. Was that even the
Yeah.
question? I don't remember. I got off on a tangent.
Well, yeah, it is. And so, I mean, the main question here is like, why don't we recognize it? And
Oh,
it's like you're
yeah.
saying, like, once you start adding that awareness, it becomes a skill and you start feeling it and being able to see it more often. But I think one of the main things is really, like you were saying, it's so hard to even recognize it in the beginning. And so I appreciate, this community being a place where you can come and refine that ability of awareness. Because there are also, for me, I've noticed there comes this like, well, what part of this, helpfulness is my nature and what part of it is codependency. And
Yes.
so being able to fine tune that awareness and not become like overly self-critical, of course, and right and be like, oh, look, can't help anyone, Dixie. You're, trying to get validation or something. But where we can bring that awareness in and be like, well, no, I truly am a helpful person, and being helpful and of service is it brings me energy. But when I am being of help and service and it is draining me, that is where I notice that that's the codependency, right? Instead of me functioning in the way that I'm meant to and being received and it all going well, I create something that maybe is transactional. And then I'm
Yes.
tied to this outcome, and my value and my emotions are tied up in however this proceeds, right?
Oh my
So
gosh.
being
Yes.
able to have that awareness to be able to shift, I think is important, right?
Yes. I want to, can I just give an example of that just happened?
Yes.
Okay, so
Yes.
we want to be helpful. And as a mom and an ex-wife, I
Mhm.
want to create family events that are fun. Everybody can get together because we're all spread out now. So I kind of feel like it's the mom's job. Like it's my job that we all get together
Be the
because if I
glue.
don't plan it,
Yeah.
it's not going to happen. So I
Mhm.
was planning this event and trying to get everybody to tell me what they wanted so I would know that they would come and they're going to have a good time and that I would be validated and feel like I did a good job, right?
Mhm.
I didn't know this was happening in the background, but for years I have been so disappointed with all of our family events because I'm trying to get everybody in line and try to get all the chickens in a coop and stay there long enough for us to have a meal together and be happy and end well without anybody getting mad. And then
Mhm.
people don't show, they don't do what they were supposed to, and then I'm mad at the end of the day, right? Okay, how much fun is that? Nobody wants to come. So, this last event, my partner said, Heidi, it feels like you're trying to get me to do what you want so we can have a good party so we can validate you. I'm like, oh, ouch, you're right. That was exactly what
Mhm.
I was doing, but I had absolutely no awareness. Absolutely. And so it helps us when we have people in our lives that can reflect to us back what is happening. Okay, so thus the community, when we share these stories, we can see ourselves in the other and like, oh, that's what it is. I'm not so awful or bad or wrong. I'm normal. This is
Yes.
human behavior
Yeah.
that was learned. It's a strategy of coping, but I don't have to do it anymore. And here's another way. So that's the community. So we can see ourselves in the other. You just explained it so beautiful, but I've been acting this way for years and years and years. I didn't see myself doing it. I didn't even know until my partner called me out. So that's what we need. We need somebody else to say, hey, this is what's going on because we can't see it in ourselves. Okay.
Yeah, and to do it with love. There's
Oh,
definitely
yes, that's
some
true
certain
too.
situations where that's not going to be received very well.
That's true.
And
Yeah,
that leads,
you're right. Not
yeah,
everybody's
that
going to
leads into
receive
the,
that.
yeah, yeah. So, I mean, it's great that you guys have that relationship, but sometimes it's easier to hear it from like a circle of friends or, than it
Yes,
is like the
yes.
person that you're in a codependent situation with.
Yes, yes. And that's what the support circle is for. So we can share, hey, this is
Yeah.
what's going on. Am I crazy? Right? Am I not? What's happening here? Because I can't see the forest through the trees. Yeah.
Yes. And the next point to that is what changes once you have awareness, right?
Okay,
Because
there
what
you go.
changes
Okay.
emotionally once you have awareness?
Yes. Okay. So once you have awareness to the story, here is the magic. You get to sit with the feeling that it's bringing up. So, okay, so the feeling is I need to feel important. I need to be worthy. I need something to fix me, right? And so we get to sit with the feeling, feel the feeling without fueling it with a story. And once you get to the end of the feeling, you'll realize there was no story and there's nothing, there's not a problem. So you get to
Mhm.
rewrite it however you want. You realized, oh, I was trying to validate myself when I'm already valid, right? I'm trying to
Yeah.
do something that's not necessary. You're just spinning your wheels like a hamster, and you can't see it unless you sit with yourself for a moment. So that's the whole
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Awareness allows you to sit with your feeling without fueling it with a story and just get to the other side of it and see what is the truth. What is the truth?
And that is what you call coming home to yourself, right? Like what
Yes.
is actually there, who you actually are, and what the
Yes.
truth really is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not
Yeah.
in
Yeah. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
telling me that I'm valid. I don't need your approval when I trust myself. I don't need your, yeah, whatever when I know my worth, right? And I've
Yeah.
not known that before. I've not known, most of us have not known it before. So let's give ourselves a whole bunch of grace and have fun with
Yeah.
the journey, right? Let's do it together and know that
Yeah.
we're not alone in it. I'm not alone in
Yeah.
this. That's why I created the community. You are not alone.
Yeah.
We get to do
Yeah.
this together, and that makes it way more fun. Way more fun.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
And well, you just answered my next question, which was, why did you create this community? And that
Yeah,
truly is
because
the heart of
yeah,
it.
because we are so desperate for community to for real connection, because we really don't have it, friends. We do not have
Yeah.
real connection in the majority of places. And this is some place where we can go deep. This is some place where we can
Yeah.
let go of the old stories. This is some place that we can live the life of our dreams if we would dare to do it, if we would dare to believe in ourselves enough to really go for it. I mean, and
Ooh.
I'm first to go. I'm first to jump. And I'm saying it's scary. It's scary, friends. I don't know
Yeah.
what I'm doing besides following my intuition one step
Yeah.
at a time and knowing that that's enough. That is
Yeah.
that is all I have to do. That's all we need to do
That's
is
right.
follow
Absolutely.
our inner direction, our inner essence, our inner knowing of what is that next step. And if you're a part of this community, there you have something to contribute here. Thank you for being here, friends. You get to be yourself here. You don't have to fix yourself here. You get to evolve here. You get to grow here. You get to be human here. So, welcome. I love you. Yeah, I love
Yeah,
you.
welcome. Welcome to the
Welcome
community.
to the
Such a
community.
wonderful, wonderful space to be. And then that's most of my questions for today.
Okay.
I did wonder if maybe you want to do like a maybe a 3 to 5 minute visualization or exercise,
Oh, I
or if
would.
there was any final
Yes.
message you wanted to
Yes.
leave with. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Yes, we do. Okay. So when I am let's say I'm in a challenging spot, right? I'm feeling like I got to get this party all nailed down and it needs to be perfect and everybody needs to come so that I can feel validated, right? I don't know
Right.
that that's what I'm feeling, but it feels like stress. It feels like, oh my God, I got to do something. Okay. So you're in that
Mhm.
space, and we want to shift into the space where it's a beautiful party no matter what happens. It's a
Right.
great event no matter what happens because I showed
Party's a
up and
party.
I was at peace and I brought myself,
Right.
and that was the most important person to bring. Okay. So we're
That's
going to
right.
shift perspectives right here, right now by doing one thing, which is calling all of ourselves back to us into the present moment and knowing that everything we need is in the present moment. We have everything in the present moment. Okay. So take a deep breath with me. Join me, and we'll just end with this together. Okay, yes, yes, yes. Deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. And arrive with me right here in the present moment where everything is. And all of those little pieces of yourself that you've sent out over your lifetime, we call them back to you. Call all of yourself back to you right now in the present moment. I call all of myself back to me right here, right now, and I sit in my divine sovereignty and feel the fullness. I feel into the peace. I feel into the joy. I feel into the freedom to live my life expressively, authentically as I am without apology. I breathe into my fullness, all that I am. And I say yes to myself. I say yes to my message. I say yes to my purpose. I say yes to my divine plan. I say yes to the inspired actions that will carry me forward from this moment, from this precious moment in time, this now moment. And with that, we say, and so it is. And so it
It
is.
is.
Thank you, Dixie.
Wonderful. Yeah, thank you
Love
so much,
you.
Heidi.